This is the kind of book that you need to do a binge read. All 15 books. It was like catching up with family. Mary Balogh, Remember That Day. And um you really have to this is hard trying to do this. Um you really have to binge all the books. If you have not seen my previous videos, I can't do this. Um if you have not seen my previous videos, and some of the first few are really raw. Lighting is terrible. The first one, when I first started doing the videos like 3 years ago, me in my bathroom cuddled up on the couch because it was a cozy read. You wanted to get nice and cozy in your robe and have your hot cookies and your beverage and your hot chocolate or whatever, even though it was the middle of summer, and do your cozy binge read. And we went through most of the books. If you haven't seen, there's about 10 videos. I've labeled them Mary Balogh D. Louise book series. So check out all my previous videos. This is a merging of two families. It's like a family reunion. These two families to get together, and while if you're doing a binge read and you've read both series, it's nice to see everybody again and see how everybody's doing and how many kids they've had and catch up on their lives. It's a really good catch up. But I feel that the overwhelming amount of family members overwhelmed the story. And I'm telling you, their parents' story. The Duke falling in love with the lady from the orphanage, and the lady from the orphanage turning out to be someone's biblo, and just it wrecked his family, and it's a whole big. You got to go back and read all the books to catch up on the stories, but there's so much stories there. There's like 15 books worth of stories, so 15 books worth of people descend on this house for a weekend, and the overwhelming family and reunions and meet and greets and the festivities that they have. It just overwhelms the story. The story's about this big, but it just overwhelms the meet and greet and the family and the whole lot. And I absolutely am in totally, absolutely 100% in love with the beginning of this book. She tells you, she introduces the characters. She tells you about Caleb, and his story was always to remember, and Clarissa and his wife and 5 children of their own. Caleb's son from a liaison before his marriage grew up in Ravenswood too as one of the family. The eldest is Ben Elias, married to Lady Jennifer Arden, and then they have 3 kids, and their story is told in Always Remember. Devlin is the oldest son to Caleb and Clarissa, and he became the Earl of Stratton after his father died in the first book, and he married Gwyneth Rias, and their story is told in Remember Love. Nicholas Ware is the hero in this book. Philippa is next. She married Lucas Arden, Duke of Wilby, in Remember Me. Owen is next. He's the 3rd son. He is unyet married, so hopefully his book will be coming next because he is a prominent character in this book. Stephanie is also a prominent character in this book, so we may see more of her. And the love of her life, the guy that she's been dreaming about her entire life, asked her for a dance and she turned him down. So I think that's going to lead to something in a future book. Clarissa, the Dowager of Countess Stratton, married Matthew Taylor in Remember When. And then we have the Westcotts, who I confuse them sometimes with the Bedouins. In Mary Joe Beverly? No, maybe it is Mary Balogh. Did the Bedouins too. Humphrey Westcott was the late Earl of Rivendell, and he married Alice Snow in a secret ceremony that he hid from his family. And he had the daughter, Anastasia, who was born at the orphanage. That's, yeah. And she married Avery Archer, the Duke of Netherby, and that led to a whole big thing. And Camille married Joe Cunningham, and he's also a star of this book because he's doing the portraits. They had the big house on the hill down in the town where the orphanage was. And she goes through all of this, and then she lists the family tree. Come on, computer, get it right. Come on. There we go. I'm sorry for my poor lighting. Oh, and I completely forgot to tell you that this is the Dealy Wees book series. We just read books and we talk about books. And if you could hit the like and subscribe, if you are still here, please hit the like and subscribe. Please, 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 please. So, Nicholas is, he was in a parade in the beginning of the book, and Winifred, our heroine, sees him, and he had that cruel look of him, his austere look. He'd been in the military, he'd been in war, and he just had that look about him. And he noticed that she noticed that look. And so then they have this big house party. He decides that he's going to propose to Grace Haviland. She's a prominent lady. But she's been betrothed so many times, and her betrothed have gone off to war and died. And Winifred is friends with Owen, his brother, and they're just friends. It may go. Owen may be hoping it goes someplace, but realistically, they acknowledge the fact that they are just friends. And it takes a while. It takes a while to get going, and you're like, come on. But there's so much family stuff, and there's so much reunion stuff, and there's so much other stuff going around that they don't get and they have to enjoy the festivities and the archery and all the stuff that's going on. I'm like, all right, come on, make it to it. Come on, get to it. Because there was just so much family, so many people to catch up with, and so many activities and everything. And then they have a beautiful day on the lake, and they do some stuff together, and they have a really good time. And Nicholas begins to realize that he really likes her. And then he goes with Grace, and he sits down and goes like, I guess we're going to do this. And Grace is like, and he's like, well, really? Because I really don't have that, I'm like that too. So they mutually agree not to marry. And then he's free to pursue Winnie. And he really has feelings for Winnie, and it takes a few chapters for that to get going. We got to do some more family stuff, and we got to do this, and we got to have this archery, and we got to do this, we got to deal with the kid. And it's... And you're like, all right, come on, come on, get with it, come on. But it's better if you do all 15 books in a read, and then you enjoy the family stuff and the catch up and all that kind of stuff. It's good. I've remembered most of these incidents. I remembered the incident at the ball with his father and the mistress and the blow up and the army stuff. I remember all that stuff from the previous books. So it was good to catch up with family. So he's finally getting his book. He's finally getting a story. And the one little thing at the end, which he buys a house, and he buys the best house in the country because she wants to live in the country. She doesn't want to live in England. He never tells her. They write letters for 5 months. They stay separated for 5 months while she gets the wedding preparations and the invitations, stuff like that. And he's dealing with his stuff, and he's looking for a house, and he buys a house, and he has some people start furnishing it, not completely because he wants her to finish it with her stuff. And he never actually tells her. And it's like on the last page of the book, he goes, oh, by the way, I bought a house. But it's you get to catch up with the Ravens. I'm assuming we're going to get Stephanie or Ben's book next year. Whichever, I'm already I'm like, all right, come on, let's get to Stephanie, let's get to Owen, come on, let's get their books going, come on. So we'll see what happens there. But it's a good family. But you have 15 all these different families get together. 15 books of people conjive. It's just so much. It was enjoyable because you're catching up with all the families and seeing all the people again that you haven't seen since these books, and relearning their stories, and remembering the orphanage story, and remembering the Duke's story, and how with the mistress and the family situation and all the stuff with the family with the mistress and the the Anastasia inheriting all the money and the family being stiffed, and those were good books. Those were honestly good books. They had good meat chunks to them. They were good. So this is like 15 books, and it was just a lot. But you familiarize yourself with all the storylines that you've already read. Like, oh yeah, I remember the orphanage, and I remember the painting thing, and I remember the house, and I remember the event at the ballroom. That was an event, and I remember the army stuff, and I remembered all of it. But I was like, come on, Nicholas, come on, Nicholas and Winnie, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Let's get going here. I was like, dang, come on already. And the one thing it was missing, which is fine, is the last minute hurdle. All Regencies have the teasing, romance, flirting situation. Then they actually agree to do the marriage situation, or at least court or something. And then there's always that one last hurdle conflict before the happily ever ending. There was no last hurdle in this book to get over with. Once it was decided, it was decided. So anyways, spoiler alert, 15 books remembered in this book. All these different families come together, catching up with all these different characters, remembering all the events in their book. It was just awesome. And I hope you enjoy it. And let me know if you will read this book too. But you gotta read all of them. Go watch all my videos first. You gotta watch my previous at least watch the Remember videos, if nothing else. And then do the Someone videos too. So, you have a good one. Have a good one. And don't forget to check out Star Trek Voyager recaps on Fridays, or Next Generation Fridays, JD Rob on Sunday, Unboxing on Sundays, Flashback Mondays, and of course, my daily book reviews. Have a good one.